up, everybody? It's Angel Dust. It's so great to be with all of you wonderful people today. And this is how I really talk. People are like, why are you so manic? You seem like a crystal meth addict. I have to speed up my posts so that Meta will put them in a position of being seen. Because if I talk the way I normally talk, which is like a normal person that is not doing crystal meth, I sound slow to you guys like this. And people are, it's very funny. People are like, he doesn't talk like this. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I have a fucking, I got this is the white trash, the Euro trash soccer special that I got last time I was in Europe. Yeah. I don't know if it's a mullet. It's definitely fucking like a Euro trash haircut. But whatever, man. I'm trying to be real to my roots. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, so I know you guys want to ask questions. I love that about you, but you're going to have to go to Discord using the link in my bio to ask questions on the general channel, because this platform is not really that safe for us to talk about what's directly in the messages. We're finding that they'll just take posts down. They'll just kill an account. We have several accounts, and they'll just delete the account, or they'll delete the post. They did it yesterday. They just deleted a post. So I know you guys have questions. I told my barber I wanted the Euro trash soccer mullet special, and that's what I got. Yeah, boy. Thanks, Badger. Everybody give it up for our wonderful moderating team. You're going to see them telling you to shut up and not use names. You're going to see them telling you not to use derogatory statements about other races or other genders or people that are different, because the psyop that we instilled into your brains over the course of thousands of years is to hate everybody that's different from you. Why do we tell you to hate everybody that's different from you? Because if you're in the little box of straight white boy, right? Or you're in the little box of gay black man, or you're in the little box of hardcore working class Mexican, you'll never be able to reach across to that other person that forms the fabric of a society. What we've done is we've gotten you to hate everybody that's different from you, to erode the fabric of society, so that we will never, the table that we're standing on, that you are supporting us with, you will never be able to knock it over, because you all hate each other, so you can't work as a group, right? That's the psyop of hate that we've instilled into the fabric of your society. It's very sad, I know. If you want to watch my post today, I talk about why I'm talking and how I'm talking. And I know you guys have a lot of questions. I'm going to tell you again. Just go to Discord. The link is in my bio. I will answer your questions on Discord. Thank you for asking. Sunshark, I'm doing really well. My mom is doing incredibly well, and it's because I had her going to the gym, and we got one of her hips replaced. We got one of her knees replaced. She's becoming a bionic woman. So it's fucking amazing. I'm super grateful that she's doing as well as she is. I'm doing great. I'm being of service, and I'm showing up for my family and for my people. And that's all I can do, right? A lot of people kind of immediately assume that, Illuminati are evil. It's not. We're just rich white people, for the most part, who control things beyond your ability to vote. For instance, the AI data centers that are going in, they're called cluster cameras, the drone swarms that we're creating, all this stuff to control you guys. This is across administrations. The big difference is, while you saw previous administrations just going along with the vision of an authoritarian state, which is coming from pretty much one man named Peter Thiel and a company called Palantir, Trump had said over and over and over again and promised his base that he would never go along with it, right? That he would drain the swamp, he would destroy the deep state, he would release the Epstein files, no new wars, we weren't going to go to war in the Middle East, we were going to stop that bullshit. We were not going to, support Ukraine. We were going to end the war in one day. And what's he doing? He's sending bombs to Ukraine. He's bombing Iran. He won't release the Epstein files. And not only is the schedule for Peter Thiel and Palantir in an effort to control the American populace with technology, there was a $8 billion investment. And not only did Trump not stop the $8 billion investment, he upped it $2 billion. So now it's a $10 billion investment into Palantir from the American government to enslave you guys. And it's really important that I tell you guys all the time, like, I have ways around all this stuff because I have resources. Most of you really don't have ways around all of this stuff, right? Because you don't have resources. And that's the plan. The plan is to slowly but surely, somebody said crabs in a bucket. Well, I'll say crabs in a pot, right? You're watching an authoritarian regime, which Trump promised he wasn't, but he turned out to be for sale. I think they have something very bad on him. And it's happening so slowly that you can't feel it, right? And you can't really resist it because there's no big moves. And what's cool about Trump is that there are big moves now, right? The slow, steady decline into authoritarianism was always going on. It was going on under Barack Obama. He really started instituting all of these ideas, which made Republicans furious, right? Republicans were against it, right? And libertarians were against it. And then you had Trump win, and Trump, for the most part, really didn't play ball. He was trying to get a second term, and then Biden won, and then Biden started playing ball with the authoritarian deep state. And then because Trump was on his last term, he just said, fuck it, and collapsed, right? I believe that he's making such big moves that you guys are now aware of it, and you're going, holy shit, they're creating a full-on authoritarian state, right? And the big moves that he's making against, like, states' rights, which a lot of Republicans go along with because it's kind of fun to watch the woke thing fall apart. It's kind of fun to watch, super liberal cities eat shit. It is kind of funny. I hate to say it. I'm an elite, right? I don't want anybody telling me what pronouns to use. I don't want anybody telling me what to say or what not to say. It's the nature of who we are, right? So we oppose most of those ideas. That said, Trump is doing these big moves and they look authoritarian. And what they're doing is it's bringing all this focus on authoritarianism because everybody's like, fuck, dude, authoritarianism. And everybody knows that he turned his back on all of the libertarians and all of the Republicans that were against deep state authoritarianism. He turned his back on all of them with the courting of Peter Thiel and with the courting of big tech. Make no mistake, the reason why we have a Discord channel is because Meta doesn't want ill things said about Trump. They want to fully support Trump because they don't want to get into it with Trump, right? You have to remember that on two separate occasions, Trump threatened Meta Boy, Facebook Boy, right? And he took it very seriously and he started building one of the biggest singular, personal, underground enforcements, right, to ever exist. And this is how much money the guy's got. He's going to eventually buy the Hawaiian island. I can't be too specific because they'll shadow ban this post if I get too specific. So he's on this island in the South Pacific. He's building this crazy fortress. He's killing his own game. He's learning how to hunt, shoot, fight. He's not doing that for public image. He's doing it because he kind of needs to do it. And if you think that a bunch of American protesters are going to cross the sea and protest him, that's not what he's worried about. You guys don't have the resources to fly to Hawaii. Most of you don't, right? I do, but most of you don't. He's worried about the American government. He's worried about drones. He's worried about drone warfare. He was threatened very seriously by Trump. Trump said, I will put him in prison. When he was not playing ball with Trump and he took Trump off of his platforms, it was a very difficult time for Meta Boy, right? And it was scary. And he doesn't want to be scared. He doesn't want to live in that. He'd rather us live in full-on authoritarianism than go up against Trump, right? And on top of that, you have to understand Peter Thiel early on, when Meta Boy decided he would not play ball with selling his company, Peter Thiel bought 30% of Facebook, right? So Peter Thiel is the guy that's following the powers that be, right? When you talk about this, right? The powers that be are not, we love authoritarianism because we want to control the populace, but we're not trying to let the tech bros take over either, right? Tech broligarchy. Did I just make that up? Tech broligarchy. We're not into it. And this is part of the reason why I'm able to speak as freely as I am. As long as I don't say my last name or my first name, and as long as I wear a mask and don't show my face like an idiot, I can pretty much speak as your crazy uncle. And so that's what I do. And I did a post today about karmic retribution. I am being funny in that video, just so you know, and I am trying to troll a little bit, and I am being obnoxious and alluding to certain things. That is what I do. Sometimes I'm dead serious. Sometimes I'm being funny and playful. That's why this page is fun. I recently had somebody rail me and my team for being too fun. She was a 50-year-old lawyer who can go to hell. I hope you're watching. We couldn't ban you because you wouldn't give us all of your information. You never played ball with the society. You never integrated into our society. You never did any of the work, and you derailed the work and talked about how stupid it was. So we're glad you're gone, and we hope more people like you leave. That was part of the reason why I posted unfollow and leave my Discord yesterday, because we've got the fastest growing Discord server in the history of the company. We don't need you, okay? And frankly, it's exhausting to deal with stupid fucking people that don't get it. It's exhausting. And we're always on the verge of burnout, always, because we're running a secret society that is very hard for people to understand. See, I grew up in secret society, so I know how to shut my fucking mouth. But most of the people on the server don't, right? And this is why we have the higher order. The higher order is for people that get it and understand it and are doing the work. If you're not doing the work, you're not going to make it to the next order. You're not going to make it to the golden order. You're going to be in the higher order, which is better than general pop, because when you're in the general populace, there's a lot of mentally ill people. They come in and they say, I am descendant of the Anunnaki. I am a star child. Did the DMT entities tell you that when you were smoking your fucking DMT vape pen last night? Right? Don't get me wrong. The general server is fucking amazing and fun, and there's all this rad information, but it's not about the work. And the work that I bring to our Discord server is how to survive the American apocalypse. And quite frankly, the apocalypse in the United Kingdom already happened. It happened in the 80s and before. It happened when the British Empire fell, right? The apocalypse happened in Rome when Rome fell. The apocalypse happened actually when the dictators took over and they lost their democracy, which is where America is going. I say this all the time. We're at the 250-year mark, right? There's this weird phenomenon where societies thrive and peak, and then they disintegrate. And we're at the 250-year mark with America. The American army just celebrated poorly, I will say. Trump did a terrible job with the parades, and then China did their military parades and made us look like fucking idiots. It was so embarrassing. I've never been so embarrassed of our American military, and the only reason I wasn't meaner about it is because I'm still trying to, like, to some degree, be respectful and not become a target of the regime that's in power in the States right now. But I mean, that's what it's becoming. It's becoming a regime. And remember, like, I was always supportive of Trump because Trump's tax policies are what I need to be able to keep my empire building, right? I said this earlier today, on privately to my Discord server. We evolve or we die. That is the law of the universe. You grow or you disappear. And that's in every part of your life. And that's in every aspect, right? I did recently do a post about the idea of limitless growth and capitalism being something limitly growing and sucking resources from all around it, and I explained that I was describing cancer, right? That doesn't mean I'm not a capitalist. I have a charge to make my family's interests thrive. I have a charge to make the corporations that we own, the LLCs that we own, the companies that we manage, they must thrive under our focus And once again, our capitalistic inclinations. That doesn't mean we don't take care of our workers, but a lot of the times the workers must get paid less, or we must take the business out of America because American workers simply want too much. And that's the reality of it. And, recently my mom's friend was in my purview because they had both fallen at the same time. And the woman was complaining about all of the different ethnicities and why aren't there any white nurses? She's a very old woman. And my mom, who's pretty smart and a little socially liberal, she still was a Trump supporter, not anymore, but she stopped when when he started doing the Epstein psyop. So my mom literally was a staunch Trump supporter, and then the Epstein psyop, like the files don't exist, there are no files. She was like, fuck you. She was done. So she's not a Trump supporter anymore. So you have to understand, right? An older person is going to have a different set of values, and you have to kind of give them a little bit of breadth when they say stupid shit. But my mom's older too, not quite as old as this woman. And the woman was complaining about the ethnicities, and my mom looked at her and said, "Can you stop? You have a white daughter? Would she ever do this work? Would she ever change your fucking diaper?" The woman was in a diaper. No. So shut up. I just sat there laughing. It was brilliant. We unfortunately have poisoned ourselves as well with this racial psyop and with this, different people are dangerous, different people are bad, So if you want to ask questions, I'm actually in the questions kind of phase of this cast, and I'm going to start taking questions. Flat Earth is not real. You are not Anunnaki. Aliens are real. They're benevolent for the most part. Entities are interpretable. There's no ice wall. All right, so I'm taking questions on Discord. Questions are on Discord. Yes, we have our own army. The army, you will see them in the comments. They're called the Five-Headed Army, and they are moderating Instagram right now. We also have the IHSV Army. So if you see Five-Headed Dalt, who just spoke. IHSV, Scallop of Terror, that is an army member. So yes, we have our own army. Believe Within, IHSV, that's an army member. And what we do is if somebody says my name, they'll put a bunch of names underneath the name to obscure it. Hey, SJ, good to see you. You can see all the IHSVs are now joining in and saying, hi, Serafina. And you can follow those people, Five-Headed Savage, because those people are actually working on being illuminated. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. And they're really good people, whether they're doing the work or not. I am not Jewish, conflict of interests. I am the whitest person you know, Swiss Austrian, whiter than you. Okay, so let's take some questions. About the rings, do we have to be a member for a certain amount of time to wear a ring? Like Masonry, you have to be a third degree to wear a ring. So, because we've had such a great amount of success on the higher order, and we have such a great vibe in the higher order, you have to be a higher order member to buy a ring. The rings will be available shortly. I finally got a proof that I like. It's beautiful. It's polished silver. So you can buy a ring if you're a member of the higher order. If you're general populace, it's not for sale to you, and it's not for sale for anyone else. The idea of the Masonic ring, the idea of any secret society ring, is when you see somebody wearing, this is a Skull and Bones ring. It's actually from the 1700s. It's one of the originals. To be a person of integrity and to wear a sacred seal, you must be in the work. You must be of the higher order. We're a little bit looser about it because we understand that this is a new thing that we're doing. It's a digitally based secret society, but it is a secret society. People are not giving their real names. They're not giving their information. When you sign up for the Discord server, you can put whatever name you want. You can put whatever email you want. Just make sure it's an email that you have access to. So we're doing rings, pendants, like St. Christopher style, small pendants, rings. We're doing gold, silver, and we're working on doing some other really cool precious metals. Yeah, the ring is sick. You can see the ring on some of these people when they comment. It's the sacred seal of the Golden Order. And I can't give you the full name of the order yet. We're going to be introducing it soon. So yeah, so I'm answering questions over here. Do you guys own all the armies in the world? No, we don't, Knight. Armies are underneath whatever government has paid for the army. That's how it works. Early on, we would have small patches of land that we would control. That's kind of how my family came to power. We had a little keep in Switzerland, and we controlled a populace, and we controlled land, and we had a standing army. And we got slowly but surely through politics and actually good faith with the peasants, we became more and more powerful. We started taking care of more land, which was really the way my family saw it. We were patrons of the arts. We were patrons of a lot of famous painters in Austria. And once we took over Austria, we had now we had a serious position in the world. We started through political alliances and marriages. We started basically becoming our own empire. And when we partnered with the Catholic Church, it became the Holy Roman Empire, and my family was part of that line. And that's on my mom's side. My dad was a working class soldier who married into the thing. So that's that question. Why do you think people seek for a higher power or someone to essentially take orders from? It's a great question. So if a higher power is giving you orders, it's most likely mental illness or a religion or a cult. Right? Your higher power directs you through, for the illuminated, your higher power will direct you through good deeds, love, and kindness. This is why Jesus Christ came and basically became the Holy Trinity and wiped out the demon god of old and became the all-encompassing, loving God, which we know today in Christianity. Other religions, it kind of happened at the same time, believe it or not, in the time of human history. All of these illuminated people were born. I give them all credence, and I believe in all of them. I follow Christ because I'm from a Catholic Christian family. It makes the most sense to me, and I like to celebrate the holidays with my parents. My parent now, my dad is dead, and my brothers and sisters. So we are very close through the Christian Catholic faith. And I feel bad for people that are born into families that don't have celebrations. And I believe that, having something to bind us together as far as our belief system is really powerful and positive. So it's the opposite of what you think it is. My family is bound to the Catholic Church through tradition, and it actually brings my family closer. I did a post on Christmas Eve of last year that went viral and blew my account up, and it's me talking about our Christmas. And it said, this is how we celebrate Christmas. And there's images of, Krampus, which is a very divisive, they call it, you guys were calling it a devil or a demon. It is that, but it also works with Santa Claus, and it's part of Austrian heritage, Swiss heritage as well. People can be saved through loving kindness, essentially, B. If you wake up every morning and you give yourself to the universe and you say, where can I be helpful in this life? You are saved. You can be saved through Christ. You can be saved through other means. If you're getting online and you're being rude to people all day in the name of Christ, you're not a Christian and you're not following Christ's word. Christ's word, the essential word, the final version of his commandment is love one another. That's it. It's pure love. That's it. There's nothing else. So how do you love? You be kind. Do you walk into Starbucks and yell at everybody for not having Christ in their lives? Do you stand on the corner and yell at everybody and tell them they're going to hell? No, that is not Christ-like behavior. That's ridiculous, asshole, rude behavior, making people unhappy and feel bad about themselves. That's not Christ-like. A lot of my Sufi connections talk about Freemasonry and all of the blackmail they do if you want to leave. That is absolutely not true. You do take an oath in the Freemasons, and there is pressure to stay because the organization has to keep itself going with membership. But that is absolutely not true. They do not blackmail you. There might have been parts of the world where the Freemasons acted like that, but not any Freemasonry that I've ever known practiced that. That's not real. Cults do that, but Freemasonry isn't a cult. You're talking about Scientology, not Freemasonry. And when I first started talking about all this stuff, I got threatened by Freemasons daily. I was getting death threats from Freemasons because they didn't understand what I was trying to say. They didn't understand that my dad was a Freemason and that both my granddads were Freemasons. So the death oath for Freemasonry is real. You don't have to keep going to meetings and you don't have to keep paying your dues, but you do take an oath to be buried in your Masonic apron. And I have in that video on Christmas Eve, I show my dad's Masonic apron, which is still in its tube. He should have been cremated in it. And he made a conscious decision to not be cremated in his Masonic robe. And he explained it to me and why he did that. He felt like he had been absolved of Masonry by Christ. And he felt like his God towards the end of his life, and this is a man who lived in war. This is a man who blew things up. This is a man who tested nuclear weapons. This is a man who did black op runs for different governments, definitely a lot for the Bush family. He came to the conclusion as he was dying that God was pure love and that gravity was pure love. And the thing that binds us together and holds our atoms together is innately and inherently love. And that it even transcended Christ, and that by the time he died, he was more of a Buddhist. And he believed that you could find, and actually I think my dad's, some of the places that my dad took himself towards the end, in this is not religion, by the way, this is spirituality. This is way past religion. Religion says you must do this, you must do that, you must give us 10%, blah, 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 blah. The stuff that I'm telling you right now is way, higher order kind of work. And it's really hard for people to get. And it's funny because I do have people saying, well, that's it. Well, try to do it for a day. Try to be kind to everybody in your life for a day and not manage their lives and not tell them what to do. I can't do it. I can't do it for one fucking day. Honestly, let's see if you can do it. I want things my way. I want my head of security to take care of my mom in the way that I want him to do it. I want everybody who works for me to do the work the way I want them to do it. I want my family members to succumb to my whim. I want my dogs to shit when I want them to fucking shit. We are built like that. We are narcissistic beings. And the reality is I don't control anything or anyone. I don't control anyone. And I find that the harder I try to control people, the worse my life gets and the smaller my life gets. So if you think this is easy, good luck. You don't get it. So Canaloo, Freemasonry does not require immoral practices. There is no mandatory butt sex. I'm sure there's gay people in the Freemasons, but it's not a thing. There's no child sacrifice. There is all of the things you've been told are not real. They're Catholic psyops. And we started the psyops to take the Knights Templar down. The royals owed billion, back then a billion, whatever was a lot of money. We owed a lot of money to the Templars. They were the most powerful organization on the earth, and they had to be, in Western Occidental world, they had to be taken out. And we used devil worship, child sacrifice, anal sex, buggery. We used all of that stuff to take the Knights Templar down, just so you know. And it's been applied to every secret society ever since then. There's no butt sex at the Bohemian Grove. If there is, I've never seen it or done it. It's certainly not ceremonial. These are psyops, right? The more dangerous the illuminated are, the more power we have over you. God, where do you think the reptilian thing came from? If I can convince you that I'm a reptilian and that I drink children's blood, I'm a lot scarier than if I'm just a rich white guy that drives a fucking nice car and has a bunch of money. Do you understand that? It's the same thing with the idea of these bloodlines, right? Like, no, you don't understand. My blood is sacred. My blood's not sacred. Royal blood's not sacred. It's a thing that human beings created. It is just what it is, right? We want to scare you. We want you to be afraid. Well, Canaloo, you're not supposed to talk about what happens in the Freemasons. It's a fucking secret society. That's why he doesn't answer your questions. Yeah, Moloch. We don't worship Moloch at the Bohemian Grove. That's not real. Can you talk more about Knights Templars and how your family brought them down? Yes. So my family my family existed, but our line wasn't royal when the Templar thing happened, right? We were successful way later. The Templars came down at around 1300. I'm not sure exactly when it was because I'm not a scholar. I'm a business person. And essentially what happened was the Templars were the first banking system, right? You would go into the Middle East on your sacred quest, right, to see the Holy Land. And on your way, whereas Occidental control was over the Holy Land, we didn't control the territory to get there. So to get from Europe to the Holy Land, you had to go through treacherous lands. So the Knights Templar were the order that was created to protect the travelers. That's what we did. What the Templars realized was that by taking people's money, putting it in the bank, and holding it until they needed it, we were able to do a lot of stuff with that money. And it really was the first modern banking system, right? Well, what happened was they got so much money that they started really lending money out to powerful families and royal families, right? And so the undoing was when a specific French family did not want to pay them back, and the Templars were very powerful in France. He said, well, we're not going to pay them. And they came up with some kind of negotiation to pay them, and that was when they arrested them, and that was when they started going after all of the Knights Templar across Europe. They disbanded it. The Catholic Church was never for the Knights Templar. They did not want an order. At one time, they were a part of the Catholic Church. Towards the end, the Catholic Church basically, kicked them out, excommunicated them, said they were gay, said they were having butt sex, said they were eating kids, they were worshiping the devil, and that was the end of the Knights Templar. Once a person or group of people are no longer afraid or no longer care to be afraid and sees the illusion, how would the elites maintain control? How are you all going to get powerful when you all hate each other? I've done whole hour-long conversations about this. And at the end of it, somebody on my Discord server who's not an idiot, where you judge, they'll say, well, what about the blacks? Or they'll say, what about the Jews? What do we do about the Jews? Or, well, what do we do about the Mexicans? Hate is so ingrained in you from thousands of years of psyopery that I don't think you'll ever bond together. There's not enough black people to come together and take over the government. And if you did, all the white people would be like, and all the Mexican people would be like, yeah, get them. Same thing with the Mexicans. Same thing with the whites. There's no intermingling. What has to happen is everybody has to get together at the same time and push the table over. So here's a table, and here's me, right? And here's you guys. But you all hate each other. Here's the Mexicans, the Jews, the blacks, the Hindus or whatever, right? Gay, it doesn't matter. It's all these different people, right? Well, I'm standing on you, but you all hate each other. So you operate like this. There's just you. There's just a bunch of black guys, black women, black others, whatever. You guys can't manage to see through the psyop anymore. So you just all hate each other. What would have to happen, and why we're not afraid, is you'll never all come together at the same time and knock the table over that we're using you to stand on. You're holding the table up, right? You're holding the table up. You all have to at the same time start not buying things. You have to go on strike. You have to go on work strike. You have to crush the economy together to stop us. And we don't believe that you'll ever do that. We believe that you're too sick and that the fabric of society has been so eroded that there's no chance of you ever doing that. So we're not worried. And now with the technoligarchs, they can shape and bend your reality with algorithms. So you just don't see stuff about that. Like when I criticize Trump, you don't see it because Facebook hides it, helping Trump stay in power. You understand? That is what's happening, by the way. If you look at my page, anytime I say anything negative about Trump, it's like I get 50,000 views, 30,000 views, 28,000 views. If I'm talking about something more broad and generalized, I'll get, most of my posts go to like 150,000. The average is about 300,000 views if I'm not talking negatively about what Trump's doing. And I'll say it again. I'm not happy with Trump right now. Trump turned definitely turned on us. Like, I'm not for Palantir. I don't want to see Palantir control our government, a private corporation controlling our government. It makes no fucking sense. I don't want to see that happen, but Trump's letting it happen. Trump's making it happen. And I'm not happy about that, so I no longer support him. And if you guys want to learn more about how to navigate the next 15 years, which is going to be very difficult with AI and with what we're doing with AI, you can join our Discord server, and we have private meetings where we talk about what we're doing and how we're taking care of each other. Anybody that knows anything about this kind of thing will tell you that your interpersonal connections are what will wind up getting you through all of this, right? Also, media literacy, being able to discriminate between facts and fiction and fake news and real news, which is very hard for people. You'll go down this rabbit hole, and it's so fun learning about the rabbit hole that isn't real, that you're just doing it, and then by the end of it, you believe it. You believe that the earth is flat. It's not flat. Or you believe that there's an ice wall holding up the water. That's not real. You believe that, you are descendant of a secret race because AI told you that, right? It's not real. You're rotting your brain with misinformation. And once again, the less informed you are, the more I can manipulate you into doing what I want you to do and what I need you to do as a society, right? Are there equally powerful secret societies with differing agendas and ideologies competing on the macro? Are there competing viewpoints and factions within the Illuminati itself? Yes. Great question. This is why I am able to speak right now. I come from old school business interests. My family controls meat and poultry, believe it or not. The dissemination of food products, right? It's one of our big businesses. Another big business that we're involved in is real estate. Owning single family homes. A lot of you have been following me for a while, watch me go to London with the intent with BlackRock buying single family homes. We do it. I just was up in San Francisco doing it. So we're very scared of the tech broligarchs, the broligarchs. Old school Illuminati are very uncomfortable with the dissemination of power between 5 people. You've got Meta Boy, who pretty much has the most successful platform in the world, which is Meta, which controls the narrative, right? You've got SpaceX Boy, Tesla Boy, right? The ketamine head, and this is verified. He's a drug addict. Controls a very powerful social media access point, right? And then you've got, where was I? Meta Boy, X Boy, Amazon Boy, very, very powerful. This guy gets you all your stuff, right? And he's working on apparently buying TikTok. I don't think he's gonna be able to do it. I'm pretty sure Trump has already done a deal with Skydance, which is another really scary one. This is a right-wing media company that is completely in the pocket of dark enlightenment and JD Vance's crew. Where essentially they want to create a monarchy and an old school monarchy, which is to me insane, right? Because I think one guy, especially JD Vance, Jesus Christ, they're going to try to knock Trump out and put JD Vance as this monarch, right? Because JD Vance will do whatever they say and Trump won't. Trump does whatever he wants. Trump's all about, pimping and fucking being gangster and making money. Trump doesn't really have an ideology. He's more of just a hope to die capitalist, right? JD Vance is very different and way more malleable as far as big business interests. And so that's kind of where I see things going. But our power is getting less and less and less. And obviously we don't want our power to diminish, right? And under this new technoligarchy, tech broligarchy, Peter Thiel, all of the social media, even Apple, right? Apple's woke on the outside, but they're brutal on the inside, man. Their business practices are so gnarly. Come on, wake up. So yeah, I miss Ross Perot too. Ross Perot is actually really cool. Yeah, the immigration, this is a great question. Is the immigration situation another psyop? It's just to create chaos and disarray? Absolutely. It's also the excuse by which Trump is taking over federalizing the police. What you're seeing is by federalizing the National Guard and arming them now, he is creating a police state, right? And the police state is run by the tech oligarchs, Peter Thiel. It's not run by my family. That's why I'm allowed to talk, because the old guard of the illuminated are actually scared of becoming, the only word I can describe it as is impotent, right? We're afraid of becoming impotent and not having any power. And it feels like it's getting really close to that. So, I'm heavily invested in Amazon. I have a great, relationship with them, putting a lot of money into AI so that we have interests in AI and we can kind of push things using the marketplace a little bit. Yeah, we don't want to be obsolete. I'm looking for another question. Yes, I heard human DNA is in fast food, but I think it's because of lab-grown meat and how they make it with those immortal cancer cells from that lady. I know what you're talking about, Sydney Fleiss. I hope I didn't say your name, but your name is here. Also on my Discord, if you don't really want to be known, don't use your legal name and don't use a picture of yourself. If you really need to do that for your own, whatever personal state of mind, that's okay. But we really don't do it. We purport to be a secret society. We would like you to act as such on our Discord server. So great question. I've heard of that. I consider it a conspiracy theory. I'm very involved in the meatpacking industry. Just kidding. No, I am. And our food doesn't have, our food gets tested. It goes through all these, government testings. It must be compliant, and there's no human DNA in any of the meat that I deal with. So I don't know about that. I think it's a conspiracy theory. MC, really want to hear Angel's thoughts on this. Do you think a day will come that humanity will actually awaken like the 100th monkey event? I know about the 100th monkey event. That's really cool. So the 100th monkey event feeds into this idea that there is a collective consciousness and that human beings will act as one when the time is right. The difference between the monkey population that you're referencing and human beings is they all look the same and they all act the same. So they can all be on the same depth of vibration, right? Human beings are in subsects, right? Well, I'm a white rocker. I'm a black hip hop artist. I'm whatever. It's like we're in subsets, right? I'm a gay pole dancer. We do that to matter even more to ourselves, right? We get smaller and smaller and smaller, and the level of unity is almost non-existent, right? You see unity, but it's within those groups, right? Human beings will never wake up to their plight until they bond together as one in some way. And once again, we don't see that happening. All you guys have to do is for one day, stop buying shit. One day, don't buy anything and don't go to work. Everybody call in sick on one day and see what happens. You will scare the powers that be. There's this big conspiracy theory that we want you to not exist, which is not real. If you don't exist, you stop buying things. This is basic facts, guys. If you don't have the ability to figure this out on your own, you're in big trouble as a person. If you stop buying things, my corporations disappear. If there's nobody to buy my meat products, if there's nobody to go on Instagram, if there's nobody creating content for YouTube, we disappear. Meta disappears. The revenue stream disappears. If there's nobody to watch and buy shit from Facebook or on Facebook, there is no Facebook. So this idea that we're trying to annihilate the human race is false. We don't want you to stop buying things, and we don't want you to disappear. That's not real. And you're certainly not being put in meat products. Has there been, this is from Don't Wish to Be Found. I hope that's not your real name. Has there been any time in history where the people might have united to bring the Illuminati or down the secret society? No, never. The only secret society that we were able to take down was the Knights Templar. Everything else has been tried to be taken down. The Catholic Church has been trying to take the Masons down because they don't want Masons in Catholicism, because they want the whole 10%. And I've explained this before. If I have $500,000 that I'm giving as a tithe to the Catholic Church every month, but then there's another $500,000 in tithe every month that's going to my Freemason brothers, That's $500,000 that the Catholic Church is not getting. They don't want to share the wealth. That's why the Catholic Church is against the Masonry. Smoky Mountain Mike. I hope that's not your real name. Amazing answers, super insightful. Can you share, are there any rabbit hole conspiracy theories that are largely real, not a psyop? That's a great fucking question. I would say that there is credence to the idea that, and I'm not going to say either way, I'm going to say there's credence and it's not far-fetched that they had a backup plan when they landed on the moon and that Stanley Kubrick was involved in shooting something. That is been alluded to in a feature film recently. You should go watch it. It's amazing. It's just Google search fake moon landing movie. It's amazing. And they really paint the picture that hundreds of people have said is the way it went down. So watch that movie. That's a really good one. Another one is interdimensional entities. There's no question in my mind that there are interdimensional entities. People theorize that they are angels and demons. People theorize that angels and demons are mistaken for aliens. That said, there are correlated universes that exist in autistic kids who have learned to communicate, who visit other realms. There are correlated entities in DMT trips that can be referenced by people who have never met. There is the idea that there are interdimensional existences that are constantly being created based on the things that you choose, right? That there are multiple realities. So why couldn't a multiple reality have something else that can communicate through the wall, right? To me, in physics, that has been proven, okay? So they've proven it with math. Do I believe it? Well, I've tried to see it for myself and I never have. I've been actively ghost hunting for years with my partner. One of my very close family members is a Catholic medium who is a ghost hunter, has the ability with other light workers to move people into the light, so to speak, right? From this dimension on, if they're trapped as ghosts or whatever. I've never seen anything. And I've tried, and I've looked, and I always look. Does that mean I can't see it? Probably. Am I a knucklehead? Yeah. Am I saying that people that really have these strong beliefs about these things are full of shit? No. But I will ask you this. If, for instance, remote viewing is possible as an astral projectionist, right? If this is possible, and the government did try to harness these talents in the 1960s and 70s using MK Ultra, right? That's another fun conspiracy theory, right? That is pretty much proven to be, for the most part, real, right? Maybe there's parts of it that aren't real. But if they could do these things, why would the government be putting so much money into cameras? Why would the government be putting so much money into bugs? Why wouldn't the government use remote viewing to spy on people with banks of people that have that talent? Here's another question. Why would they put cameras anywhere? When a camera cost, a tiny camera cost $150,000, right? Why wouldn't they just use remote viewing for that situation where they had to catch somebody doing something? Something to think about, right? Why are instances of, once again, my dad told me that aliens were real, and he cited an experience that he had. And I tell this story all the time, so I'm not going to tell it today. And all I'm trying to do is bring you guys my version of what I see, right? And I'm honest with you guys for the most part, unless I'm being funny, right? My relationship with President Trump is very complicated. I don't want to pay taxes. I love Trump's tax policy. But the truth is I feel bad because I don't pay taxes and some person working at Starbucks gets their taxes taken out of their check and it's 30%, 35% tax rate. I don't pay taxes. because of Trump's tax laws, because of his policies. And when Biden's second term, I remember my tax preparer calling me and saying, hey, get ready for no write-offs, because that's what's going to go down. You know, there are really good things about being an elite and having the Republicans advocate for you in governance. So, you know, do I believe that he is, so here's another big conspiracy theory, right? Do I believe that for the most part, the idea that Trump is a PDF, do I believe that's real? Well, there were 5 guys that are confirmed to have been on the island and confirmed to have been on the plane. The Epstein plane, the Lolita Express, and Epstein Island, and Trump is one of those people. Also, over the years, you know, when Trump was telling Howard Stern that the lowest age that he would go, it wouldn't be 13, I was listening to that episode when it aired, and I remember being shocked. And when it came out recently and people said it's AI, it's fake, it's not real, all the Trumpers were like, well, that's not real. It's like, I know it's real because I heard it. I remember being shocked. Another instance, a video that was being passed around the Bohemian Grove recently was him going up an elevator and looking at all these kindergartners and saying, I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. That's real. I remember when that came out on the news and people were like, what the fuck? You know, a man who buys teen beauty pageants and brags about going backstage and grabbing people's pussies. Like, sorry, man. Like, I don't want you around my sister. I certainly don't want you around my daughter, which I don't have a daughter. But if I did, I wouldn't want you around my daughter, and I wouldn't want you around my mom. You're a bad person, and you're probably most likely involved in the exploitation of minor females. So I have a real problem with that, obviously. You know, I love my mom. If anybody that knows anything about me knows how much I love my mom and how much I love my sisters and my nieces. So big problem, you know. It's a huge red flag for I think, you know, he's done enough psyopery with all of this bullshit to kind of like put it out of the national consciousness. I don't know. I'd like to see everybody kind of stand up at the same time, at least around this issue. I don't think it's going to happen. But that's what I got today, you guys. If you got anything out of our experience, join our Discord server. It's amazing. We have fun. I want you guys to know that there is a lot of learning that goes down, and there's a lot of conspiracy channels and stuff. We talk about everything from Bigfoot to Aleister Crowley and black magic. It's really fun, really cool, really insightful. And our general community is fun, but if you really want the experience that I'm trying to give you, you will join the higher order. When you join the Discord server, the link is in my bio. You can get over to the Discord server via the link in my bio. And when you get into general chat, you can say, how do I join the higher order? I want to know more. And then you can start rising the ranks in our secret society and becoming a real part of the work. And more will be revealed. The more you interface with this page, the more you come in to my world and be a part of this. You know, it has always struck me as very wrong that women are never allowed in any of the ceremonial events I'm a part of, that women are never allowed, you know. I like to think that I'm an advanced thinker and that I'm a younger guy than most of these people. And I've always felt like I wanted women included. And I don't have a problem with transgendered people at all. Like, I'm a rock and roller. I lived my whole life to be who I wanted to be. My dad wanted me to be an Eagle Scout and an attorney and a fucking, you know, military guy. And I wanted to be a rock and roller. So I made my own way. So somebody who wants to make their own way in this universe, like, I'm behind you 100%. You know, Gene Simmons recently said that, and I thought it was beautiful. He's a very, very, you know, he's Jewish, religious Jew, and he's, you know, doesn't line up with his beliefs, but he says, I made myself who I wanted to be. I've been wearing makeup my whole life and crazy clothes. You should be able to wear crazy clothes and makeup too. And I always thought that was a cool thing for him to say, and I subscribe to that as well. But yeah, so if you want to get on the Discord, you'll have an amazing experience. Links in my bio. Join the general chat. Start talking to people saying, hey, what do I do? How do I move up? And our wonderful admins will tell you how to do it. I want to dedicate this episode to Badger. Five-Headed Badger puts up with so much shit. Our server is, like I said, one of the fastest growing servers in the company's history. And there's like 6,300 people probably by today, right? We get, you know, people are joining all the time. And Badger is the top brass and the person who has to deal with all the drama and all the bullshit. And I want to tell you, if you're being disrespectful toward Badger or you don't like Badger's tone, try to act kind and try to understand that this person's really under a lot of pressure to make this thing happen and that the buck stops with them, okay? So understand that and understand that we must support the top tiers of our server or the server won't work, okay? So that's all I got. Peace, blessings, and shine on, you crazy fucking diamonds. I will see you soon.